Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, this is Total Extreme Wrestling. Welcome to our All Elite Wrestling Save. We are now week 3 of June, and we're about to book the next edition of Dynamite. Let's take a look at the results of the last few shows and catch ourselves up, get ourselves back up to date with what we've been doing. Alright, so first of all, our first show ever was AEW Dark, but we'll focus on Dynamite first. We had a 58 rated show in week 1. Cody beat Jungle Boy in the main event for 66 rated. Matt Hardy beat Shawn Spears. Best Friends beat the Hybrid 2. Lance Archer beat Christopher Daniels. A few promos in between. On Dark, Jake Hager beat Chuck Taylor. Riho beat Etta J. Private Party beat the Dark Order's Minions. Scorpio Sky defeated Peter Avalon. And then the next episode of Dynamite, we had Moxley beat Sammy Guevara for 73 in the main event. One of our best matches, I think. And we had Omega and Page beat Reynolds and Silver for 70, which is quite impressive. So, some good stuff there. And then over on Dark, we had the Young Bucks beat Hybrid 2 for 73, which is equal best. So, some good stuff there. Some other squash matches as well. But we are slowly building up towards Fyter Fest. But obviously, in real life, some things have changed. And I'm kind of thinking about going with some of the changes that have been implemented there. But, you know, for example, Chris Statlander, she's now injured in real life, but she's not injured in our game. So we have to make the decision, you know, are we going to replicate that or just keep using her? I think at this stage, we'll probably keep using her. Best Friends versus Omega and Page, we're going to keep that going. Cody defending his championship weekly. We'll have to try and find some more opponents for him and maybe find a more of a solid foundation, which obviously ends up being Jake Hager. So we might even go with that. Just make it Jake Hager and have Cody versus Hager for the championship at Fyter Fest like they're doing in real life, because that's fine. So the Colt Cabana joining the Dark Order thing, we're going to keep going with that. But what I really did like on the recent episode of Dynamite was Anna Jay joining the Dark Order. I thought that was actually a really good idea. They're doing nothing with Anna Jay right now, and I thought it was a perfect decision to kind of throw her in that group, the first woman in the group, break it up a little bit, mix it up a little bit, and Anna Jay can get a bit of a boost because she's obviously very new, very green, still very, very young to the business. So her working with the Dark Order can kind of shield her weaknesses a little bit. So I thought that was a good idea. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to probably put Anna Jay in the Dark Order as well because I really like that idea. FTR versus Butcher and the Blade, and obviously the Young Bucks. We'll keep rolling with that. We will put MJF in a feud with SCU, and I know MJF's still feuding with the Jungle Boy, those guys. So I shelved the Jungle Boy and MJF thing. I thought maybe it was going to be a one and done, and it still could be. I don't know if they'll circle back to that, which it looks like they probably will at some point. Maybe a trio match or a tag match at some point, but instead I'm going to go with MJF versus SCU, a start of that, so we're going to keep going with that. Moxie vs Cage, going to do that. And then we were going to do a Sheeta and Nyla Rosary match. I think they're doing Sheeta and Penelope Ford in real life, but we'll stick with what we're doing here. We're happy with that. So AEW made some new signings as well, Ricky Starks being one of them. We will sign Ricky Starks. I've seen a little bit of Ricky Starks in NWA when I watched NWA for a bit. I thought he had some good potential, so I thought that was a good signing. He's got 76 star quality, which is really high. I don't know if he should have that much, but I think his mic skills are probably a little bit lower than what they should be, but he'll be a good addition to our roster. I don't know how far we'll go with him, but someone who's in the mix in the mid-card, feuding for the TNT title, something like that would be a good spot for him for now. But 76 star quality, chances are he'll probably get over. Good chance that he'll, he might get that popularity up, but his wrestling skills are pretty lackluster in this mod, so I doubt he'll go all that far or produce that great of matches, which I think is a little bit unfair. I think he's probably a little bit better than what those stats suggest, but nonetheless, he's still pretty new, so time to grow, time to increase his skills nonetheless. But that's kind of where we're at the moment. With where we're at with our shows. I'm just still trying to find where all the buttons and everything are. We've got Fyter Fest coming up on June Saturday. So week 4 of June on the Saturday. So that's only 2 more episodes of Dynamite away. Now, in real life, they're doing a 2-part series on TV, but this has got it set as a pay-per-view for us. So I'm just going to keep it as that, just do that one rather than try and make 2 great TV shows. We'll just do one special event there instead. So that will be what we're going to do, and that'll be Fyter Fest for us. And pretty much all these storylines that you just saw, we'll keep going with that. Alright, so without further ado, I think we might start looking at booking our next show. Our roster is pretty big at the moment, but looking at trying to get everyone featured is pretty difficult, but I think we're going to start utilizing Dark a little bit more to do that. I've noticed that with AEW Dark, it's really just them having one of their main roster talents squash a local talent or an indie talent or something like that. So we probably will start to try and do that a little bit more as well. But at the moment, early stages here, we need to get our own wrestlers in the mix. We need to get our own wrestlers on TV because there's a lot of guys like Private Party, for example, that don't have a lot of pop. If we can get them on TV, improve their popularity a little bit, rather than try and focus on indie talents, I think that's the way to go. At least for the initial beginnings. And then once we've established our roster a little bit more, then we can have some more squash matches. If we are going to squash someone, then, it's best to bring in a local guy, obviously. But I think at the moment, there's a lot of talents that don't have a lot of pop, like less than 40, so it's important that they get the TV time and get the spotlight. And even if it's a competitive back and forth match, it's better than them not getting utilized at all. So that's kind of where I see that at the moment, and that's probably what the plan will be for the next couple of months here on AEW Dark, and then slowly introduce some different names in there to mix it up a little bit so we don't have our wrestlers losing all the time. So let's advance a day. Let's get into Dark, and the good thing is I like the fact that it shows the results for the previous week. That's pretty handy, so I can get a bit of an idea of what we did last time, so we don't repeat our mistakes of our 39 rated show. We are still going with the coronavirus crowds, so we're still making sure that we don't have the big crowds in there, so we replicate the fact that there's no fans in the building allowed. So we're going to still go with the One Fall Power Factory, which is 100 people in attendance. So that's why we're not making any money at the moment, because we can't have any crowds in. We're losing a lot of money. So we really need that pay-per-view revenue to come in hot and save the day. But yes, so that's why we're not making any money, because we can't have the crowds in. And I'm still going to probably do that until at least maybe August, or maybe All Out. We might have the crowds back for the first time, something along those lines. I know they did an indie show recently where they had crowds in, but yeah, I feel like it's a little bit too soon for wrestling crowds to come back. But in saying that, here in Australia, they're bringing back crowds to sporting events again. So they've got 10,000 limit on people that are allowed to be in football matches here. So that's still a fair bit. So AEW probably realistically could hold 1,000 people in a small building and spread them around. So that's a possibility. Let's have a look at this week's edition of AEW Dark. We open up the show with the Gun Club defeating Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Austin Gunn was the weak link. Billy Gunn had a 36, Austin Gunn 21. Silver and Reynolds were actually better than the Gun Club. 39 from Silver, 35 from Reynolds. Austin Gunn is getting better at his gimmick though, an overall rating of 38 for the match. 12-minute match. I wanted to give the Gun Club a bit of time in the ring just to see where they're at as a team. I thought Billy Gunn would probably perform a lot better than what he did there, but I mean, 56 years of age, can't expect too much from him. But Austin Gunn needs some more popularity, obviously, to get him up to scratch. Next segment, Britt Baker and Tony are out there as Britt Baker talks about how amazing she is. Both worked well not having a script. 52. Brandon Tate versus Lance Archer for 45. Brandon Tate, 31. Not bad. Not bad at all. Lance Archer, 59 though. Very good. 2-minute match. Quick finish. Quick win there for Lance Archer to make him look good. Recap gimmick changes. Oh yeah, Brandon Tate, who cares? So, $30 for Brandon Tate we had to spend to bring him in for that match. I think that was $30 well spent. Jake Roberts hyping up Lance Archer, potentially coming back after Cody in his segment there. So we're still going to keep Lance Archer in the mix for the TNT title. Keep him with a goal in mind, something to do, because at the moment in the real world, he's kind of floundering, doing nothing. So I want to keep his eyes set on the prize of getting back in the mix and taking on Cody again at some point for the title. So 66 segment, really good. 60s at the moment for us are very strong segments. So Jake Roberts did superb without a script. Tony was great. So Cody, he's got a lot of support, so that helped him as well. So 66 segment, very good. I'll take that. And here's where it goes downhill. Anna Jay versus Big Swole for 20. Yikes. Big Swole 27, Anna Jay 22. Big Swole defeated Anna Jay. After the match, Anna Jay talked about her loss and her struggle since coming to AEW. So Anna Jay just keeps on losing. 37 for that one. So definitely considering putting Anna Jay in with the Dark Order like they did in the real world, because I really like that idea. So some more losses for Anna Jay to potentially set her up for the Dark Order is probably the plan. Main event was Christopher Daniels versus Jake Hager for 54. Christopher Daniels 48, Hager 58, and MJF got himself involved and distracted Christopher Daniels to allow Jake Hager to pick up the win. So we're continuing the feud with MJF and Christopher Daniels and SCU. And Jake Hager, the plan is obviously to do what they're doing with him in the real world, set him up for a match against Cody at Fyter Fest, which I'm happy to do. We'll replicate that and then we'll go in a different direction from there, because I didn't really have an opponent for Cody set for Fyter Fest yet, so that fixed that problem pretty quickly for me. So a win there to get Jake Hager another win, potentially set him up for the Fyter Fest situation. Gives us a 47 overall show for Dark. A little bit better, I feel. Like, I think we're just gonna have a few shows, just kind of figure out what the plan is and get used to the new game and how it all works. And we'll start getting some better shows. That's a good sign though. 47 for Dark is a little bit better than what we've been doing. This is this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Let's take a look at the results. On the pre-show, we had the Natural Nightmares versus the Hybrid 2 for 52 rated match. Probably should have tried to get this on the main show. Pretty good match. QT Marshall 40, Dustin Rhodes 48, Jack Evans 44, and Helico 53. Well, maybe we should be actually pushing the Hybrid 2 a little bit more, because they're getting some good performances. So, alright, I think we need to start doing a little bit more with them. You know, not having them lose every match, for example, would be a good start. Open the show with Jon Moxley, Taz, and Brian Cage in a confrontation, but no contact allowed. So they were able to air some grievances there. Taz going back and forth on the mic with Jon Moxley as Brian Cage stood there. And obviously, they got in a bit of a heated confrontation, and, you know, they threatened to punch one another. Jon Moxley begging Brian Cage to throw a punch at him, so Brian Cage would probably lose his title opportunity. But instead, Cage kept his cool, Taz calmed him down, and they got out of there. So 63 for that one. Not too bad. You probably would feel Jon Moxley would get a little bit more out of these segments, considering his popularity. I suppose Taz doesn't have enough to really boost it up, and Brian Cage as well. So at the moment, not quite there yet, but still 63 is not too bad, and that opens the show. Darby Allin versus Kip Sabian for 46. Darby Allin sustained a broken arm. No! Darby Allin 55, Kip Sabian 44. 12-minute match, Darby Allin wins by pinfall with the coffin drop. Broken arm. Ooh. How long's that going to be? Like maybe 6 weeks, maybe? Oh, that's not good. I was just about to start using Darby Allin a little bit more. I kind of forgot about him. And he had a 55 rated performance. Damn, that would have been really useful. Well, there goes that. Thanks, Billy. Thanks for reminding me, Billy. Appreciate it. Jake Hager, squash Brandon Cutler for 47. Hager, 60. That was pretty good. Cutler, 25. Interview with Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood of the FTR. And we had a 51 rated segment as they were hyping up a potential match with the Young Bucks. So, Tony did well, Harwood and Wheeler teasing a heel turn. Orange Cassidy versus Sammy Guevara for 70. What? Orange Cassidy had a 66 rated performance. I've seen it all now. You've got to be kidding me. Sammy Guevara, 64. Both guys have got 42, 43 pop, banging out 60s. That's mighty impressive. Orange Cassidy has a new hot move. He's the flavor of the month, so that helps him a lot. Sammy Guevara is a great worker, as we know. Chris Jericho tried to help Sammy Guevara win, but instead allowed Orange Cassidy to get the win. And that's what will start a feud with Jericho and Cassidy. 70 rated match, which is amazing. And we had a 69 rated segment afterwards as well. So Jericho and Sammy Guevara beat down Orange Cassidy in the middle of the ring there. Cody defeated Luther to defend the TNT title. Cody, 79. Wow. That is very good. Luther, 21. The drizzling shits. But Cody carried him to a 65 rated match. Not too bad. Jake Hager and Cody had a little segment there as Hager came out after the match, just let him know that he's there and he's got his eyes on the TNT Championship. So that championship will be on the line at Fyter Fest. Jake Hager and Cody, we're going to replicate what we're going to do in real life there. So we didn't have an opponent for Cody for Fyter, so this is an easy fix. Just do what they're going to do in real life and we'll kind of set up an opponent for Cody in the future. It's a little difficult, I feel like, with the week, if he has to defend the title every single week, it's a little difficult to lock in a long-term opponent because, he's defending the title all the time and you have to kind of set aside a particular person to be his opponent. So it's a bit difficult to book, but we'll figure it out. 54 for that segment. We had a women's match. Bea Priestley and Sadie Gibbs for 21. Bea Priestley 25, Sadie Gibbs 23. Nobody wanted to see a Bea Priestley, and nobody really cared about the match. Fair enough. Fair enough. Not good. 21. MJF took on Frankie Kazarian for a 60 rated match. MJF 66 rated performance. Ooh, I like that. Very, very good. Frankie Kazarian 52. MJF is in amazing form. Well, there you go. So we're still continuing MJF with Christopher Daniels. So Daniels was on commentary in that match as well. Colt Cabana addressed the issue with him potentially joining the Dark Order. So he addressed it with Alex Marvez, 47 rated segment. And our main event was the Young Bucks versus the Butcher and Blade. Nick Jackson, 86. Matt Jackson, 79. The Blade, 41. Butcher, 30. Plenty of positives there from the Young Bucks. And 69 rated match, so that's pretty good. Butcher and Blade kind of let us down a little bit there. I thought they might be able to get something a little bit more than that. But the Butcher was the weak link. We did have one segment to go after that as well, where we had the the FTR, I'm going to keep calling them Revival. FTR confronted, we're out there as the Butcher and Blade attacked the Young Bucks, FTR with the saves. Similar to what they've done the Real, but I thought that was a fine way just to potentially tease the match against the Young Bucks, but also setting up Butcher and Blade versus FTR for Fyter Fest. 57 rated there as well. So not a great way to finish the show. I didn't expect too much out of this segment, but I thought the main event match would be maybe a little stronger with the Young Bucks out there. Nonetheless, 61 rated match, 61 rated show rather, as we increased our popularity in 20 regions. So we just hit the benchmark. We just got over the hurdle. We used the Butcher and Blade far too much on this show. Okay. So the Butcher and Blade are not over enough yet to have a 17-minute match on TV, apparently. Well, 61 rated, not too bad. We had some good positives. You know, Orange Cassidy and Sammy Guevara was good. We had some good segments there. We just didn't have one big match to get us across the line to get that show rating up a little bit more, but some positive nonetheless. All right, let's take a look at the results. So we had NXT and Dynamite. NXT, 1,500 attendance, 1.9 TV rating, 1.4 million viewers. Pretty impressive. Their main event was Rhea Ripley beating Candice LeRae. Gargano beat Drake Maverick. I think that was the best match on the show there. Yeah, it was. What's Johnny Gargano performing at? 70. Not too bad. Drake Maverick, though, held his own on 53. It's pretty good. We had a 6-man tag that got 70 as well. The Singh brothers out there with Finn Balor, Timothy Thatcher, Pete Dunne, Shane Strickland involved as well. So it was Isaiah Scott, Finn Balor, and Pete Dunne beat Thatcher and the Singh brothers. Finn Balor 73. So Finn Balor's not even like performing like super good. 70 pop, you'd probably expect more from him there. Maybe a 6-man match was not the one for him. Obviously, the big concern for us is Darby Allin. I think he's going to be out for a month. Let's have a look Let's have a look at the damage. He is going to be out for 27 days. So that's not too bad. Not the end of the world for a broken arm. I thought 4 to 6 weeks would probably be the time frame. So disappointing to lose Darby Allin, but nonetheless not the end of the world. NWA are trying to sign Ricky Starks from us, which is interesting. They're trying to keep him employed by the NWA. And he's only going to consider our offer, so I'm not too worried at the moment. And we drew a 1.08, 815,000 viewers. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. I'd have to look at our previous shows and see what we did. We did 767,000 week 1, 817,000 week 2. We actually went down in viewers. Okay, never mind. We went down 2,000 viewers. Apparently the Young Bucks is not a draw in the main event. So we went down in viewers, but that's okay. We could try and get that viewership closer to 1 million in a couple months. That'd be great. Let's have a look at see if there was any swings in popularity. Hopefully the Butcher and Blade, we need to get them up a little bit more. 24 and 24. Doesn't look like they went up at all. That would be ideal if we could get them a little closer to 30 before Fyter, but that does not look like to be happening. I could see Luther going up in popularity after his amazing performance that he produced. Yeah, he definitely did. B. Priestley, she probably went up a little bit after getting on TV. Yeah, went up by 2. Orange Cassidy did beat Sammy Guevara. There's a chance he went up. No, there's a chance Sammy went down. No, Sammy Guevara went up. Sammy Guevara, hallelujah, we did something. We have done something good for once. Sammy Guevara going up 1 point to 44 now. Well, that's great. Thank God for that. Jericho still at 81. That's where he started, and that's where we need to keep him at, or if not better. We cannot afford to lose any popularity from Chris Jericho. I'm just thinking for Fyter Fest, is the world title, Brian Cage and Moxley, going to be good enough? Is that going to be our best match on the show? Big chance that Orange Cassidy could have the best match on the card after his performance against Sammy Guevara. I think Jericho and Cassidy could be the best match on the show. Especially because Moxley and Cage storyline here isn't that great. Needs to get a bit of a jolt, if possible. I mean, Cody and Jake Hager could also have the best match on the card. And even Best Friends versus Omega and Paige. So there's a few matches that could really easily be the best. It's hard to really predict what's going to be the best one on the card.